100%, 100%. So welcome back, welcome back. This was a request from Tshepo. Given that we had ended our last segment on the just energy transition and how Zimbabwe has had a ban on export of raw materials, and particularly Tshepo had something that he'd like to share before we ended our segment.
Well, I believe that me and my host here, we agree 100% on the fact that it's a good idea. But then one thing that I have a problem with, especially looking at the South African context, he mentions how a lot of smelters have been closed because of the high prices of electricity that we are battling with here in South Africa, and also the fact that we didn't have a sustainable source of electricity because we kept on having load shedding, road retraction, aging infrastructure collapsing every now and then. So it wasn't sustainable for the companies. So my question is basically looking at how can we, as South Africa, as people in leadership, how can people bring the necessary skills and the know-hows and how can we move forward into making this thing a reality, like having the ability to introduce the just energy transition into South Africa.
No, thank you for that's a very great question. And I will gladly give you a response that I feel like it's appropriate and within the purposes of addressing your concerns. I do believe that in South Africa we are in capable hands, not just from a private perspective, but I do believe that all spheres of government do have the policies and frameworks in place. Perhaps there may have been some challenges in terms of implementation of some of those policies, and the management as well may have had some difficulties in finding the right and appropriate skills. Which is why we have, as the youth of South Africa, taken it upon ourselves now to educate ourselves to understand how these various systems work. The reason why I say that is, I'll use an example of ourselves. Look at yourself currently. You are doing your first year in mining engineering, and having come from the industry of banking finances. Earlier on, you also mentioned how you bring a position of leverage, given that you understand now how to run finances and what it takes to have a successful operation. That in itself is a manifestation of the capabilities that we have in South Africa. I myself, brief background of myself, even though it's something that's becoming a recurring thing, I mention it all the time. But I'm an undergrad of construction, and through construction I went through the structures of mining engineering, construction engineering, management, to a point whereby I did my honors in quantity surveying, and I learned about cost optimization as well as materials handling. We did civil engineering, the various fields. Today I sit here and I'm proudly about to complete my master's in waters engineering. The reason for that is I'm someone who's in love with water. Water is life, and I also have felt that we have had similar challenges in the water space in terms of shortages, whereas we have an abundance of water, and I may identify some failures such as infrastructure failures, governance failures, management failures, as well as technical skills and capabilities. But through my studies and through the network that I have developed, I do believe that there is a capacity that lies in there. And the first point of reference, I always like to do operational rollout scenarios. Just energy transitions for South Africa, where do we look? We look at Triple P. Triple P is the public-private partnerships. What is the structure of a Triple P? It's essentially a private firm working with a private company for the public benefit. If you look at that structure, it really, really does go a long way into developing the framework that is required to roll out that infrastructure. And instead of us saying we're going national, let's just do a local pilot. Piloting is always great, having a proof of concept. And similar to how we've had a discussion on the biogas and renewable energy, we do have a very special guest to just give us her experiences, having been a member who comes from a community that has had biogas.
Thank you for having me in your program today. So the 8 years of my high school beginning of 2014, throughout part of 2016, I had the opportunity to go to a boarding school in Zimbabwe. The boarding school is called JZ Moyo High School. It's in West Nicholson. It's close to the border, the Bait Bridge border. So the whole school was entirely run on biogas. So the lights to the dining hall, the classes, and the school had some other programs like practical subjects where you had to do metal work and welding and everything like that. Everything was entirely run on biogas, and we never had power outages or days where we didn't have power at all. Throughout the course of my stay there, we didn't have any power issues whatsoever.
No, so Tshepo, do you perhaps, given that now you kind of are part of a case study, do you perhaps have maybe a question just to ask our guest in relation to that? Because it's like we're now looking into the future.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know who was actually running the project. Was it the school itself, or did you have someone independent who came with the idea?
I'm actually not sure
Okay.
about that, but I would like to believe it was the school because the area is very remote. It's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So I would like to believe that the school was running the
Alright.
whole project on its own.
Well, just a closing comment. I think this is a living testimony of the power of renewables. Your school was made a bit easier. Your schooling journey was made easier because you had running electricity. You were able to use your computers. You had lights to study. So, yeah, man, like renewable energy is the future.